Guys, I think we're live. We are going to be doing some more speed training today, which will be fun. Let me just make sure that our audio sounds good. Check, check, check. Let me just make sure that our audio sounds good. Check, check, check. Okay, nice. All right. So that's good there. This guy. So we'll do that. Perfect. Oh, can't see the radar. How about now? Hey, Dakota Bridges is here. Hey, Dakota. Oh, some more speed training today, guys. Hey, Sycamore's here, says, let's get practicing. Hey, Sycamore, what's up? Oh, just trying to get loosened up here. You know what I could do? I could put these over here. Oh, all right, so first step to any good speed training session, obviously, is loosen up your body. I've got my radar system here on the bricks. And too hot to play here, Sycamore says. We've got our extremely official speed tracker. So the way this works, guys, we're going to swing the green club, then the blue club, then the red, then we're going to go back to green and max out the green. And then before we start, we're also going to get a baseline with our driver. All right, so now that we have our radar system working, you guys saw the other day do some speed work without that, so no actual feedback, but we still, put the intention in and did some good work. So now we're going to be keeping track using this PRGR system, portable launch monitor. This you can get along with the super speed system. Dakota says, I changed a few things. My drives have become more consistent. Unfortunately, messed with my irons, causing me to hook the ball. Is it normal to have a weak grip with irons? Well, Dakota, don't forget that they're different swings, and you have different objectives, right? An iron, you're trying to kind of hit down with some descending angle into it. A driver, you want to hit up into the air with low spin, right? So just be careful that you're not over applying something that, you're like, hey, this feeling or this, thing I'm doing really works for my driver. Well, it might not be appropriate for your irons, right? It is something different. So I'm trying to remind myself of that too when I'm out there playing. These are different swings. I need to set up to them differently. I need to have different objectives, right? I'm not just making it the same swing with a different club. Shuvo's watching from Bangladesh. Very cool. Thank you very much for being here. And our friends from Korea are here. Hello. I always wish it would tell me, it just shows me the characters, but I like to, call people by their name when I can. All right, so before we even start, I think I should do the driver baseline. So I'm going to grab my driver. I've got my speed radar set up right there behind me. Right, and I'm going to make 5 swings pretty much at full speed. I should probably get a little bit looser. Yep, you want to make sure that all this is feeling loose. All right, this is good for speed because we have no target. We are just swinging. This is our only feedback, right? Is this radar telling us how fast the club's moving? Shuvo says, can I have your help? No dogs today. Although maybe the dogs will come out at some point. That would be awesome if they do. And Troy said, or sorry, Tony said, nice balls. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate that. Only the best of balls here on the live stream. All right. Try and get some speed going. Actually, you know, use my body to get loose instead of just trying to swing. All right. I know, I think his name's Cordy or Gordy. The Golf Well TV guy, he did a speed journey trying to get to 180 ball speed. And I think he was a big proponent of like doing a big, you know, like cycling. Just got a funny message about the stream. Bit of a weird way to say it, Tony, but TP5s are great. Dylan said hi. Hey, Dylan. Otis is here. Hey, Otis. Tom's back in from Scotland. Hello, sir. This is a much better time, I think, for lots of our overseas watchers. All right, so again, this is technically day 2, but day 1 as far as baseline and recording of speeds go. Should I be wearing golf shoes? No, it's not that serious. All right. I'm gonna move this so I don't accidentally hit it. Potentially devastating, although I'm sure it would play well on the stream. All right, so 5 swings for baseline. $108. $106. $105, going the wrong way. $106. And 107. All right, so we'll call it 106, 107. We're supposed to take the max. Okay. 108. So we take the highest for all of these. All right, so that's our baseline, guys. 108 with the actual driver. For, you know, not feeling like I'm going all out at it. Pretty good. All right, so now we swing the green super speed club. This is the lightest one. We do 5 swings. $115. That said 98, so that was probably not right. $119. It does occasionally pick up the backswing speed. $106. $118. Okay. So 119 max with the green. 119 is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. New concert tickets today, Inhaler, Kneecap, and Sam Fender. Amazing. All right, so max there, guys. Oh, and I'm sorry. We're also supposed to do the max left-handed swing as well. So we're going to have to move. Hollywood asked what we're using. This is a portable launch monitor. This is called the PRGR. Portable launch monitor. So does a pretty good job, and there's different settings you can use for different clubs. I mean, certainly for club speed, I think it's fine. All right. Now we have to go lefty. This is not my favorite part because it feels awkward and I'm not good at it. Is this far enough? I don't want to smash this fence. $101. Hey, we got it over 100. 102. 103. 101. 98. All right, so 103 was our fastest lefty swing with the green club. So this is how I'm keeping track, guys. Extremely official scoreboard tracker. Jackson's is playing 9 right now. Any advice? My advice would be have fun. Just, enjoy yourself. Stay hydrated. Very new to golf-wise, when I use a driver, the ball stays on the ground the whole time after I hit it. Well, you do need some loft and some speed to get that ball launching up in the air. I'm having a non-alcoholic Corona today, guys. We just checked. I'm coming up on 1,600 days of alcohol-free living, which is amazing. Almost 4.5 years. So, staying hydrated with some NA beer out here. Jim Rat, I think you gotta, number one, make sure that you're making solid contact with that driver, and to do that, when you're practicing on the range, really slow it down, and, you could just even feel like you're swinging the club to your waist and trying to make sure you get it up in the air, right? Because if you're really hitting down on that club, it's gonna come out very low with not enough launch and spin, so you gotta practice hitting it up higher into the air. All right, guys, so next, we go back to the blue club. This is the medium weight one. We swing this 5 times. 111. 113. 110. 113. So I'm going to write down 113 as my max righty swing with the blue club. And then we'll switch it over here. Do the same thing, same club, left-handed, track that speed. Sycamore NA, why bother? Well, I still, I enjoy it. I've found that, having NA beer has been a good way to, socially still enjoy things that I like doing, right? I always loved drinking beer and watching football with my friends. Now I can still do that. I just don't drink alcohol. So it's not for everybody, but, to me, it's the same as I'm just out here drinking a Corona on a hot day like I used to be. Just, not dealing with the effects of the alcohol. All right. 95, 98, 100, 100, 101. All right. So I'm going to write 101 for my max lefty speed. RST said hi. Hey, RST. All right, so give myself like 60 seconds or so, and then we're going to move to the daunting, the red club. This is the heavy one. So Hollywood says your lefty swing looks pretty good. I appreciate you saying that. It feels awful. I don't know if I could actually hit a, you know, get the club face on the ball. Could be a fun challenge. I could go out and try and play lefty and see how it goes. All right, so now we're gonna do our swings with the red club. .106. No read. It says 106. Nope, I got nothing. Here, let's try again. 104. 106. 104. All right, so that's pretty good. 106 max with the heavy righty swing. Oh, incredible. Look who came to say hi. What? All right, as long as you guys don't get too close. I don't want to hit you. All right. Lefty swing, the red club. 93. 94. 91. That was the backswing. 96. All right. So, couldn't get the red one over 100 with the lefty club, but 96 is our max there. Ask Leland says, good for you on the NA, brother. Whatever makes you happy. Great swing from the righty side. Very impressed with your lefty swing as a righty. I appreciate that. Thanks very much for the support, Leland. Yeah, I've been doing it long enough now where I don't have any insecurities about it, but certainly I think it's the NA beer can be good, you know, for people who are new to drinking less, or, you know, like, hey, I'm interested in consuming less alcohol overall, but I still want to, you know, go out and have something to drink that isn't like water or, you know, soda. Can be a great tool. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? You know, I know people now who, they're like, well, I don't drink, you know, I still drink, but I'll go to the bar, and instead of drinking you know, 6 regular beers, 3 regular beers, and 3 NA beers, and I still go out and have a great time, and I feel a lot better. So there can be increments to this stuff too. It doesn't have to be, you know, light switch on or off. All right, guys, so we did the overspeed. Now we come back to the green, and we try to get this as high as we can go. 120, there we go. 120 again. 121. 121. Come on, 122. 121 again. All right, so that's how it works, guys. Before, our max with the green was 119. Now, after doing, you know, the different levels, trying to build this up, right, 121. So it's already 2 miles an hour faster with that green club. Now we're gonna move our bricks again. And do the same exact thing, just with the lefty side. $102. 105. 106. 106. One more. 106 again. All right, so even more improvement, 3 miles an hour. On the lefty side, right? 103, got up to 106. And then, so 108 to where we started. It's just so I. All right. Yeah. Now we go back here super fast. And careful, dogs. See if we gain any speed with the regular driver. $113. 113 again. 113 again. 112. All right, one more. 111. So that's the whole idea, guys. You just saw it in action. 15 minutes ago, we were swinging that club at 108 miles an hour max. Just got that up to 113. So one session in real time, 5 miles an hour. That's probably 15 yards on the golf course. So this is day one. Ultimately, I'd love to get 113 up to like 120. 120 would be a really nice number to be swinging the driver at. And I do have to remind myself this driver's half an inch short because of shorter hosel. But still, 113 is more than enough speed. Hollywood says, I imagine those would be great warm-ups if you can't hit balls. Definitely. Really good way to, you know, get the heart rate going, really stretch the muscles that you need when you're making a swing. Hey, buddy. What'd you find over there? What'd you find? Just some dirt? Just some dirt? Yeah, we were digging it up over here. We were, yeah. Go see your mama. You wanna go see your mama? I know, you can't go under there. You can't go under there. Go on. I know. Go on. This is where oversized water bottle comes in a lot of handy. Because you guys will, you know, if you start doing some of this overspeed training stuff, you'll feel, you know, heart rate gets up. Just feel a big, you know, you really key in on like what has to happen for your body to generate speed, because this is the only piece of feedback you have, right? It's just, you know, how fast can you move it? And then obviously, you know, once you have to hit a ball and you care about where it ends up, right, that speed's going to come down. So what we're trying to do is push the ceiling higher so that cruising speed, right, the one where you're like, okay, I can confidently swing it at this speed, know where it's going to go. It's going to end up in a, you know, still a relatively big dispersion cone, but, you know, I'm going to be hitting it on the club face. And so we're hoping that cruising number gets dragged higher as we push the ceiling, right? So we got our max green speed up to 121. So we know it's in there. You know, this is obviously lighter than a driver, but that's super encouraging to see. And then just the 5 miles an hour, guys, going from 108 to 113 in one day. That's the whole point. That's the whole idea. Obviously, you know, just like if this was a workout, I'm not going to be able to do this every day. I'm going to need rest days. And I mean, you guys tell me. I mean, if I'm doing like kettlebells and mobility stuff, is that something that we should live stream too as part of the speed journey? Because I'd love to do something similar to what we did with the putting and just do like a 30 days, you know, like, okay, so if today's day one and the starting speed was 108 miles an hour, for 30 days, if we do 30 days of speed training, you know, can we get 108 to 118, 120? So it's exciting to get started. I'm going to do some more drills and, you know, answer some of your guys' questions, right? If people are like, hey, how do I, you know, I'm always hitting a big slice or can't stop hooking it. We've had a lot of success, you know, sharing and demonstrating drills that people have, you know, gone and tried and then come back to the stream and said, dude, that really worked. That drill was awesome, you know. What are you looking for, baby Lil? You say, is it time to dig another hole? Okay. Is it because you're eating grass? Could be. Could be. All right, so I usually like to do this drill with like an 8 iron, but that club is in the house. Let's get gloved up. Hi, you silly. Look at you smiling. Look at you smiling. What do you see? What do you see? Where's your mama? Obviously, of key importance is making sure that your hitting area is clear. So that's kind of what it looks like, guys. That'll be kind of what it looks like to try and get this speed going higher. And seeing the lefty improvement is pretty cool too. I mean, I didn't think I could get that thing over 100 on really the first day. So that's pretty cool. Speed and mobility would be cool. All right, Hollywood. Anoidus says 120, that's a magic number. Body did well today in the second round. I'm still catching up. I'm about probably 30% of the way through the broadcast. But what I do is I record it and then watch it back, you know, like in periodically as I have time. But yeah, it looked like Bryson was playing well today. I don't know if he's going to end up making the cut or not. I mean, you guys probably know. It's probably been decided by now. What I've been working on in the setup here, guys, is just really making sure that I'm not getting lazy with my setup, right? Sometimes I get sloppy and, you know, kind of have the hands back in here, right, almost. Really trying to make sure that I have that good, you know, shaft lean at setup so that I can make it that much easier to deliver that back into the ball, right? Start the way you want to end up. I wonder if this would work. Let's try. Oops. I wonder if this will still pick up the speed with a net. Let's see. Gives me club speed. I don't know about the ball speed. It seems a little high. It said club speed was 95, which would be really high for me to be swinging a 9-iron. That seems really fast. All right, that one said 89. That seems more likely. And even that feels a touch high for a 9-iron. Now 83, so hard to say that it's super consistent with the shorter clubs. And definitely I don't trust the ball speed. Tristan, Anoita says, let's bring the speed, just got to put your all into it. Love that. Tristan, how do you stop topping the ball? All right, Tristan, so if you're topping it, what's the overall skill that we need to improve? That's called low point control, or, you know, arc depth, right? Think about it. Where is the bottom of your club as it interacts with the ground and the golf ball, right? Ideally, we want that arc depth to be, you know, we're interacting with the ball first and then the ground, right? So our low point is somewhere in front of the ball. But if you're topping it, what's happening is that low point's getting too far forward, right? So if you're coming and hitting the top part of the ball like that, kind of with the bottom of the club, right? Your low point is too far in front of where it needs to be. So a lot of times you'll see people who start leaning this way into the strike, right? And then you have to kind of stand up and try to get the club on the ball. What I would have you do, this drill is going to, you know, where I'm going to start for almost everything. But your intention is to move that low point further back, right? So keeping your chest, you know, kind of centered throughout the swing. And grab a short club like this, you know, a 9-iron or a pitching wedge. And you're just gonna make really balanced, slow, small swings. You could shank it like I think I just did. I wouldn't recommend that. Right, but the idea here, oh, it's gonna, if I thin it into there, it's gonna go everywhere. Well, keeping that low point nice and centered right there, like just in front of the ball. And all you need to do is practice, you know, these little chippy, hit it like 40, 50 yards in the air. It doesn't have to be a big, long swing, because all you're trying to improve is that skill of how do I control how I interact the club with the ball and then the ground, right? So you're going to have to practice, you know, taking a divot, hitting down onto the ball, to get it, you know, launching up into the air. Yarnum's here. What's up, John? About to go play around in 9 holes. Hey, Yarnum. Good luck. When you play, go out and have fun. Stay cool out there. I notice whenever I finish my swing, my balance is off and not steady. I used to play baseball, so that shows something. Well, there's some benefits that can come from that too, right? Don't forget that it, you know, teaches you, other sports teach you how to generate speed and things like that. Come on. Go on. Inside. Come on. You have them. He was getting into stuff. He was getting into stuff. Oh, and I found my 8-iron. Incredible development. Okay. Now that we've got all of the canines accounted for. Yeah, so Tristan, that's another skill that you can work on, right? I've worked a lot on that as, you know, think of it independently, right? What is the speed at which I can, you know, how fast can I swing and make good contact with the ball and maintain my balance, right? For a long time, I was swinging at a speed where I couldn't maintain my balance. Even on iron shots sometimes. I would, you know, swing and I'd be like kind of falling back over here, all this kind of stuff, right? So it's a skill that you can work on, right? And just say, okay, what's my objective for this swing? Is to make a balanced finish, like an Adam Scott, you know, picturesque, just hold your finish, right? And that's the drill. I didn't even hit that well, but I completed the drill, you know, and you can just, what do I have to do? So then obviously, you know, you want to layer in, did I strike the ball well? Ugh. Ooh, important to stay hydrated out here. Jocks New says, what's your favorite course? Favorite course that I've ever played or favorite course just generally? Favorite course that I've never played is Pebble Beach. Just such a cool, incredible golf course. I think rated course that I've ever played is maybe Kiowa, the ocean course. That's like in the 5, I think, for public courses. But a lot of cool experiences, you know, Sea Island or Butler National. I've played all the Cabot properties now. Stream Song was really cool. Stone's really cool. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look, but it's hard to really pick a favorite. I think it's, you know, there's ones that I really appreciate for the golf, right? For the shot making and the layout. There's courses that are extremely cool because of the nature, right? You know, courses or up in the mountains, you know. I have some favorite rounds because of just the people that I play them with. So that was maybe a, you know, longer-winded answer to your question, but Jason said hi. Hey, Jason Miller. Shout out to Jason. If you guys want to follow along on this speed journey for the next 30 days, hit that subscribe button for me. It really does help us out. Thanks to you guys. Just past 2,500 subscribers. It's only been like 6 months since we started the channel, so that's super, super cool. Really grateful for all the, you know, nice comments and support that we get. All the new subscribers every time we do a live stream. It's crazy, guys. Sometimes I'll stream for an hour or two and I'll look after and it's like 110 new subscribers. And I'm like, it just blows me away the amount of support each time that we do this. So thanks to you guys. All right, we're gonna save the batteries on this guy. Because while I wish I was swinging this 8-iron at 102 miles an hour, I don't think I am. That would be a lot. So again, it's good to have something like that, you know, a balance intention, something that you are really keying in on as you're practicing. If you are going to be, you know, hitting full shots and working on, you know, executing, picking a target, all that good stuff. Another one for balance, right? You can just work on your balance as a person, right? When I was working on it, I would just, you know, if I was scrolling on my phone or writing a text message, well, you just practice your balance, right? You know, how do you do that? You try and build, you know, strength and flexibility in your feet and ankles. And Jock says, I play in Vermont. Awesome. I have not played very much golf in Vermont, but a close friend of mine is from up there. Really good player. And I know they have lots of beautiful golf up there. Let's see how the swing looks. Not bad, not bad. David's back. Hello, David. Miami has some nice courses. I have played some golf in Miami. JT says shanked it. Almost. My miss has actually been out on the toe recently, guys. You would know if I shanked it, though, because it would probably hit the fence. Yeah, I played the Blue Monster course. That one was super hard. Oh, that was hit thin. Oh, there's where the other golf ball went. Here I am thinking, somehow I've lost one. But nope, it was just hiding. So I've been having to focus on this intention of almost trying to intentionally strike it out of the heel in order to get my strike pattern closer to the center of the face, because I've just, you know, my misses have been somewhat egregiously out on the toe. That was hit well. So I got to take my own advice sometimes, right, and just make some of these little swings. Really key in on the strike. Just, you know, what do I have to do to guarantee that quality strike? You know, if you needed some extra feedback, you could put a towel down or a piece of tape, right, kind of just behind the ball to make sure that you're hitting ball first. Ooh, it is not cooling down. That would be a bad ricochet if you hit you in the basket. If you're ever back, try Grenada Golf Course, tough 9-hole, very narrow. Okay, Tristan, good shout. Curtis, usually around 0. What hitting net is that? This is the Net Return Pro Series. I'm working on getting a discount code for you guys. I think I'm on the way to being in their affiliate program because of how often you guys are asking about the hitting net. Is that an Oban shaft on your driver? It is, Garrett. Good eye. These are the Kyoshi Purple. These are 0.5 flex. I have the 65 gram one on my driver, and then they're 75 in my 3-wood and 5-wood that have the matching Oban shafts. But I got fitted into these, you know, a few years ago. The other drill we were doing It's this caddy drag drill. If you guys have never seen this one, what you do is you let the hands, kind of drag the club back this way. And that forces you to really feel on the way down that lag, right? Oh. Yeah, I made a video recently about how frustrating the process of trying to get better at this game can be, right? I was playing most of the last like 2 or 3 years off between 1 and +1 handicap, and my swing wasn't perfect or super pretty, but it was very consistent. I could hit the ball a pretty long way. But I started having some injuries, and I've had a bad back for a while, and I had more time now to like get out and practice and go, before work or after work. I have a much more flexible career now. I was like, great, I'm going to really start, overhauling my swing to make it easier on my body, which, has gone okay, I think. I'm pretty happy with where the swing is at. But, I think for some reason in my brain, I was like, well, I'll still be able to play golf at the same level, even though I'm like learning a new motor pattern, when you're under pressure or, really trying to care about your score, it's hard to trust those things. And so that part of the process for me has been, one that I've had to do. Practicing a lot, I'm putting a lot of time in, and my scores are like worse. But I think that's okay, right? Sometimes it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I know, right? I see it with my eyes. I can feel it, in the strike. Like when I commit to the swing when I'm playing, the shots are great. I mean, I hit it really, really well. But, it's a good reminder that it's not all just, a straight line up and to the right, So the path to getting better, it's not going to be a straight line. So again, guys, just really focusing on... Oh, okay. Well, this is saying we're back. Can you guys hear me? Who could know? Who could know? All right, there I see Mark. Check, check, check. Who could know? Who could know? All right, there I see... Okay, Mark. I can hear myself again. All right, so we're just going to keep going. Hopefully it will fill right back up. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. Oh. The idea here is really just like, what do I have to do at this slow speed to kind of guarantee a good strike on the ball? something like that. Whew. Hey guys, sorry about the technical difficulties. Seems like everybody made it back in here. If you guys are interested in, learning more about the golf swing, or have a question, or like, hey, I need a drill for my slice, drop a comment. Really happy with how that feels on the strike. Baby Shot said hi. Hey, Baby Shot. That's an interesting name. Yeah, I like the balance, and it was a really good strike on that one. For me, it's just super important to feel that weight shift and it's really nice to kind of get that good reinforcement, right? I'm consistently finding the center of the face. I'm building that, I'm wiring the motor pattern, right? It's just like any other skill, right? If you were trying to learn how to play the guitar, you wouldn't say, okay, I'm going to work on my picking, and like try to play every note perfectly, right? You slow it down, you break things into smaller pieces, right? If you guys were here for the beginning of the stream, you saw, speed training. I wasn't hitting balls. I didn't care about anything other than getting the number on that radar higher. This is, building a different skill. This is, how can I consistently get the center of this club face onto the back of that ball? Ooh, it is definitely staying warm out here. Are you ever concerned that the net doesn't give you enough feedback? I do. Sometimes I worry about that, but then, Alex, that's where it gets important to, not have it be maybe the only form of practice, right? I still go to the driving range. I still hit off of grass. And, I pick targets. I practice execution, right? That's going through a full process. Maybe I'm getting a number to the flag. I'm seeing like, okay, what's the wind doing? That's execution practice. Can I center my shot pattern around my target? My target might not be the flag. It might be 6 yards left of the flag, right? Understanding that if that's my target, some balls are going to end up right of there and some are going to end up left. We're aiming a cone, right? We're shooting a shotgun, not a rifle. It's a good point though, Alex. I would not suggest necessarily having 100% of your practice, be just technique. You do need to practice like, without any alignment aids. How do I set up to the ball, walk into it? How do I pick a target? How do I, create the shot that I see in my mind? That's a completely different skill set than, can I get the center of the club face onto the ball? So, it's a great point, though. You're tiny too much. The entire golf swing is in front of you. I appreciate that feedback. Thanks for sharing, Determinator. I know my swing pretty well at this point, so it's never going to be, 100% technically sound, right? I'm more concerned about functionally. Number one, is it good for my body to do? And I've spent a lot of time working on that to, put less pressure on my back. And is it effective, right? Can I consistently get the club? The golf ball only cares about impact, right? So, can I, hit the ball a consistent distance with each club and center my shot pattern over my target? But I know my swing is never going to be, like of beauty. But it's much more, I think, important to have it be effective. You can always try to get better, right? If there are things that are producing results that we don't like, you need to adjust, but I try to be really careful because I do see my swing on video a lot, right? I'm doing these live streams, I'm making videos. So I have to be really cognizant of like, okay, I care mostly about where the golf ball is going, not like aesthetically what my swing looks like. Because in the past, and even, sometimes today, I find myself being like, man, I don't love that position or how I, rotate through it, right? But the golf ball cares about impact. The question was based on having to warm up against a net prior to my round yesterday and then feeling unprepared as I got onto the first tee. Yeah, I think, Alex, if you're used to warming up on a range and then you don't have the ability to do that and you're like, okay, that kind of frazzled me, next time, be cognizant of that. Say, hey, this is something different than what I'm used to. Maybe I need to adjust my expectations. Like, hey, I'm not going to be as loose and I'm not going to feel maybe as confident heading to the first tee, but, hey, I still can warm my body up. I can get some swings in. I can kind of feel how my body wants to move today. And then say, okay, we're going to just pick some conservative targets because I don't know if I'm hitting, a big draw or a big cut today. I didn't see any balls fly through the air. So, maybe you just pick kind of a stock shot for your first few, swings, see how everything's feeling. And, again, manage your expectations. Say, hey, I did something different than what I'm used to. I'm going to have to, warm up as I go. Because if your attitude is like, oh man, this is something that's totally different than what I'm used to, this is going to go really terribly, well, you're just kind of priming that to happen. You're setting yourself up for that result. Whereas if you kind of take it as you go and you're already a good player, you just say, hey, this is something different. We're going to, get through it. And by the first few holes, we'll be pretty loose and knowing where the ball's going. Determinator says, I'm struggling with direction and wise words. Thank you. Distance has improved greatly, but I have no idea where I'm hitting it. Have you ever played in a tournament before? Good question. I played in lots of tournaments, all the way from junior tournaments to college. And then, some, still playing competitive amateur tournaments. Try to qualify for, state, local stuff. I've done some USAM qualifiers in the past. So, yeah, tournament golf is one of my favorite parts of playing golf. It's something totally different. It feels different. I find it to be, super fun. Testing yourself, knowing like, okay, no one's coming to help me. There's no tapping out. You got to get the ball in the hole, every single hole, and, just grind it out. Yeah, it's one of my, really one of my favorite parts of playing this game. Just rip one right over the fence. Well, I'm not going to do that because I don't know what it might hit back there. That's why we've got our net set up here. I think Calvin said, have you been watching the Open? I have been. I'm not fully caught up on the end of round 2, I will confess, because I record it and then watch as much of it as I can, you know, throughout the day, right? But I do like to watch pretty much all of the broadcast. And so I think I was, you know, kind of like Rory was maybe halfway through his round. Bryson was making a charge to try to make the cut after his, what did he shoot, 79 yesterday? What is the normal distance of a 7-iron? Well, normal is, you know, however far you hit it, right? There's no, like, good, bad. You know, if you hit a 7-iron 130 yards, but you hit it on the green every time, then, you know, you'll probably play a lot better than somebody who hits it 180, but they have no idea where it's going. Remember, guys, irons are about consistent, you know, distance control and dispersion control, right? About accuracy. You know, of course, all things equal, it's better to hit a shorter club to go further because, you know, shorter clubs, the more loft you have, the dispersion will tighten. But I would really, you know, steer people away from being like, man, I gotta, you know, I only hit my 7-iron 150 and I gotta hit it 165 because that's how far my buddies hit it. Like, you know, speed is a different skill than, you know, ball striking. But that said, I think, you know, an amateur, like an average, you know, 15 handicap, their 7-iron distance would probably be like 145 yards if they strike it well, would be my guess. Calvin says, Scotty doing okay. Yeah, I mean, he seems like he doesn't hit it great, and he's not that thrilled with how he's playing. He's kind of moping around, and then you're like, oh, he shot 3 under, and he's like right there. I don't think I have caught up on my recording to him having teed off yet. Ah. Ooh. Rycal says, what's your favorite club in your bag? My favorite club historically has always been the driver. I just have always hit the driver pretty well. Still have a decent amount of speed. Used to have more, right? In college, I was topping out in like the 121 range and could really hit it a long way. But if you can make your putter your favorite club in your bag, I think that would be the best one to have be your favorite if you could choose. Because if you love your putter, it probably loves you back. And that's a good place to be. So again, here, guys, still just, you know, kind of 80-90% speed, focusing on the strike and where it's coming out, right? There's a post back there. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm hoping to see every ball hitting the net kind of right at that post. Almost as like a start line practice, right? Just like that. Right in the center of it there. You could, you know, hang a piece of tape on your net if you had one, right? Give yourself like, you know, an indicator of, is that ball starting where I'm trying to start it? Maintenance expert, where are you from? Northeast part of the U.S., New England. Do you do any content on an actual course? Yeah, we definitely do. Check out all the shorts and videos on the channel as well if you want to see me play, real golf, hit real golf shots. There's plenty of that on there. There will be more coming soon. We've been talking about it a lot recently, but I've been busy moving and doing all kinds of, amazing things in my personal life, but I haven't had a lot of time to play golf, but that will be hopefully settling down soon, and I'll be back on the course. Baby Shot says I'm about 3 months practicing golf. Awesome. Welcome to the best sport there is. What happened to the mat? Oh, this is what happens when you just, hit a lot of golf balls off of a mat. They don't last forever, so I try to keep it, moving around, hitting off of different parts of it to, use the wear evenly as much as possible. Yeah, right. Same way you would on a grass range. You don't want to use more turf than you need to. Can you hear me now? Like the old AT&T commercials. Oh, are we back? Check, 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 check. Oh, are we back? Check, 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 check. All right, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the deal is. Mason was asking, what kind of feedback am I looking for? The answer, Mason, is it depends on what, drill I'm doing or what particular skill I'm working on. Right now, what I've been working on is the strike, right? So making sure that I'm hitting center of that club face and, feeling that it's right in the center, right? And also vertical strike, I'm not hitting it thin or heavy. And then also, I was just mentioning, I think before you asked your question, there's a post back there that I look at, and that's kind of my start line target. So right now, as I'm doing these, probably 80% swings, 90%, trying to make sure that I strike the center of that club face. I want to see that it's starting, kind of at my target. But, you could do different drills. I've done, drills where you put your feet together and make swings, and you're working on, balance and sequencing, or drills where you take a step or moving around. I like this drill where you drop your foot back, right? And, sometimes when I start hanging back, it's a good way to feel like everything has to get going this way, right? So the answer is it totally depends. You can do all kinds of different skill building, technique improvement type stuff out here. But like I said, right now I'm trying to see that ball start where I'm aimed and make sure that I strike it nicely. If you're newer to golf and you're saying like, okay, I'm not really sure I know how I struck it all the time, you could put a towel down or a piece of painter's tape I've used before, and you just put that down behind your golf ball, give yourself maybe half an inch of room, and if you hit it heavy, right, you're going to notice that you'll hit that towel or that tape before, right? So that's that feedback that you need to say, okay, I got to do something different, get the low point more forward. And if you hit it thin, right, you'll notice, you'll start to learn in your hands, it just feels really terrible. It's not going to, we all know what a thin shot feels like after a while. Somebody like John Sherman always recommends the divot board as a training aid, which is not one I've tried, but he typically always seems to know what he's talking about. So just like that, that's kind of what my intention would be. And that one I'd say, okay, I was really pleased with the strike, the quality of, the interaction with the ball. It was out of the center of the club, and it started kind of right where I was aimed. feedback from ball position and mechanics, pretty good way to practice at home, but nothing beats seeing the ball flight. Yeah, for sure, Cody. I would definitely prefer, you know, being able to hit golf balls off of a beautiful grass driving range every single day. Maybe someday that'll be my reality, but today I'm just happy to be able to practice, you know, pretty much as I want with this setup. Outside of the wear and tear on the mat, right? You know, the net return is going to last a decade, I'm convinced. My little platform here lasts at least a few years. That one was certainly a little bit thin, a groove low, you could say. That one started slightly left of where I was looking at. Just always something that you want to keep an eye on, be cognizant of. That was hit really nicely. And, you know, if you're like, hey, you know, I'm still not able to consistently strike it, again, my go-to is just start chipping it. Really just start hitting some little half swings. Because, like we were talking about earlier, execution practice is a different thing. That's, you know, you go through your whole process, right? You know, ideally you'd be on a range, you have a target. You know, you go through whatever your pre-shot routine is. You walk up into the ball. You know, you execute the shot and then see how you did, right? Did you, you know, hit it at the flag you were aimed at, or was it, you know, left or right? Are you consistently, you know, seeing your shots left or right? Cody says, looks like you're striping it. Keep it up. Thanks, Cody. Baby Shot says, your swing is very simple and effortless. Well, it doesn't always feel that way, but I appreciate the nice comment. Did I make a good swing at the last one? Let's see. This is a nice thing, too. I can just rewind on you guys, go back and look at the swings. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with how that looks. Part of my problem on the golf course is I start to overswing it a little bit. You know, it gets too long up here, right? And then all kinds of bad stuff happens for me. So I'm always trying to remember to keep it pretty, you know, connected and compact, you could say. Almost trying to have that like Tommy Fleetwood kind of feel, right? Like it's, you know, like a 3/4 to 3/4 type swing with the irons. Very important though, still to stay hydrated. And you know, these are the drills I'm doing. I'm excited to do more of the speed stuff. We'll definitely make some videos about that. I mean, even just to get 5 miles an hour in our very first day of measuring, and, you know, from start to, you know, it's probably 20 minutes to pick up 5 miles an hour. Just goes to show you, these people know what they're doing with the overspeed stuff. I'd love for that strike to be like 2 millimeters further towards the heel, but it wasn't bad. One. Something like that. Oops, picking up all kinds of leaves and stuff. Anybody playing golf this weekend? I don't think I'm gonna have time to. Which is okay. Although I do have a qualifier, a tournament coming up in like 2 weeks, so maybe less than 2 weeks. I think it's probably about time I start getting some rounds in. Nice. Hey, Liam's in here. What's up, Liam? Any tips for my round on Sunday? Haven't played in 13 weeks due to injury. Oh, well, I hope you're feeling better. But that's exciting that you're going to be able to get back on the course. My advice would be manage your expectations, right? If you haven't played in 13 weeks, that's quite a while, right? So don't expect that you're going to just step up to the first tee and, hit the quality of golf shots and play the way that you are used to. I've dealt with a lot of injuries over my, life and golfing career, and, listen to your body, right? You will be better off in the long run if you're like, hey, this doesn't really feel right. You play 9 holes and you're like, the injury's kind of bothering me. I don't know if I would really want to keep going. Like, listen to your body. Say, yeah, it's okay, to allow yourself time to recover, and that would be my advice. And just try to have fun, right? You're going to hit some probably really bad golf shots, compared to your skill level because you haven't played in a long time. And you'll hit a few that are really solid, and you'll be like, man, that felt great. Just try to enjoy that, be present, and, understanding where you're at and coming back from an injury. And I hope you have fun. That's really exciting to be getting back out on the golf course. Oh, came out of that one. That came out of the bottom groove for sure. That was better. Another thing I'm working on too, guys, just to share and the things you have to worry about when you get to a certain point with your ball striking. I'm really trying to develop feels and ways to differentiate between my iron swing and my driver swing, right? Whether that's with setup or the feels that I'm trying to create, how where I feel the movement and the stability coming from in my body. Man, once you get to the other side of 30, your body starts just being like, I need more attention. If you want to keep abusing me in this way, hitting all these golf balls, you're going to have to really stretch and be nice to me. Whew. Cade says, I had a draw for a solid half a year. All of a sudden, my ball only goes right. Not a shank or a push, just straight up right. I hate golf. Well, Cade, I understand if being frustrated is definitely normal when you're like, hey, I don't know what changed, but so when it says just straight up right, you mean is it slicing? Is it really curving left to right, or is it just starting out there and just going that way? Like, does it fly pretty straight through the air, or does it curve a whole bunch left to right? Because again, I think once you within the confines of your own swing and athletic ability, start to learn how to control the club face and the path, right? You're saying like, hey, I'm having a really hard time getting it to go right, or it's just going right. Well, do you know how to get it to go left, right? Like if I said, hey, you have to hit this ball right to left, you're not allowed to hit it anywhere right of center, right? Like you force yourself to get it to go that way. Can you do that? Because that's really where you get to the skill, right, of controlling the club face and the club path, because if you're saying like, hey, before my pattern was I could just step up and make a swing, and that swing was very reliably producing a draw, and now it's not, right? Well, then I would say you need to work on developing, an understanding of the path and the club face, right? So if you're saying it's only going right now, and I'm getting frustrated, well, I would say, okay, hit a bunch of balls that just draw a bunch, right? Force yourself to say, okay, I'm going to aim down the center of the fairway, but I'm going to hit it into the left trees. Force yourself to say, okay, I'm set up center of the fairway, and then boom, like what do I have to do to just get it curving right to left? And then, hit some big draws. Just start really forcing yourself to see the ball going right to left. Conversely, what I like to do sometimes when I'm just playing around at the range, the last 10 balls or so, you guys have seen me do this on the stream before at the range, right? Is I'll just be like, okay, I've got I'll grab like a 6-iron and say I'm going to hit some huge cuts. And then I'm going to hit a huge cut and then a big draw, like back to back, and just kind of alternate, like how far right can I aim it to get it to a certain flag, and then vice versa, right? And what I'm trying to do is, not just develop a consistent one swing does one thing. I'm trying to build the skill of controlling the face and the path. So I know that like if I have to hit a big cut, I can, do certain things and exaggerate these movements to reliably produce that shape, right? The same way if I needed to hit a big draw, I could do that too, right? You could just, produce these shapes. Ah. So hopefully that helps. That's, you know, a drill you can try. And, you know, hopefully some food. Start building these skills. I can't hit a draw for my life, but I can fade pretty well. Liam says that's a nice setup. How much did it cost? So the net from net return is $6.95. I'm hoping to have a promo code for you guys pretty soon for that, so stay tuned. Definitely a premium price, but it's a built to last kind of thing. This all in was probably like another 250 bucks, you know, just for some 2x4s and you know, some wood underneath. There's some foam, some gym tiles stacked under here. And then the hitting mat on top of that, you know, was like another 150 bucks, I think, from a store nearby. It's definitely not the best quality either, right? You can see this side's already kind of worn through, so that's one piece that I'll certainly think about upgrading at some point, is the actual hitting area. So yeah, I think, you know, now that a bucket of golf balls is 20 bucks, you know, for 86 swings, like if I can hit unlimited balls here, the math starts to get pretty easy about, like, does this make sense? So yeah, I been a huge fan of, you know, being able to hit as many balls as I want out here and have a space to do, you know, like we were doing earlier, some speed training. How do you do that? You're ball jumping onto the club face. Oh, sorry. Kind of like Ethan Fang. Kate said, I think it started when I tried to start compacting the ball more. Now I'm just not whipping through the ball now. I'm just going down on it. Yeah, certainly if you've steepened your swing, that could, you know, cause the ball to go more right. So how to pick up the ball with the club? Well, if you want to start, right, what's the first thing you would do? Well, it's easier with a more lofted club, right? So grab like a sand wedge. If you've never done this before, start using your foot to help you. And then just slide the ball, or the club, under the ball. And then from there you can pick it up and start practicing the juggling here, right? And then over time, you'll learn, you know, another way you can do it is, especially if you have a longer club, right, a 6-iron or an 8-iron, you're going to try to pick it up, you know, you can start it rolling back towards you. That makes it easier, right? Give that ball some momentum to scoop it up. And then once you really have wasted tons and tons of time at golf courses, you will learn how to just scoop it up off the ground, right? And not even need, you know, to do really any of that. So that's kind of like the 1, 2, 3 in terms of progression. And then you start learning how to do all kinds of other silly things. You know, you can juggle them